Hey gang, Jane here. Welcome back to the Meadow Blossom Blanket series. In this fourth video, we're working through row 3 of the Join as you go method, adapted for hexagons. If you missed parts 1 through 3, I'll link them below. We covered planning, layout, and how to join rows 1 and 2, so it's best to start there because this one picks up right where we left off in the last video. What I love about the Join as you go is how it lets you skip all that end of project sewing and you just keep the flow of crochet going as you join your blanket. I first worked out this method for squares, but I couldn't resist adapting it for hexagons. And here we are. When you line up squares in a blanket, they work out perfectly in a grid format, but when you line up hexagons, they're going to stagger from row to row. So we introduce half hexagons to keep the edges straight. Row 2 had these half hexagons at each end, but row 3 returns to the same layout as row 1. No half hexagons here. The only difference from row 1 is that now we're joining to the row above. So there's no new techniques in this video, just the same ideas from the last 2 videos. And yes, as I promised, row 3 really is easier than row 2. I'll be using a 5mm crochet hook and white yarn for joining and stitch markers to keep things clear. If you need a rundown of tools or materials for this project, check out the first video for more on that. This video focuses on row 3 only, and I will guide you through one full repeat and then leave you to complete the rest of the row at your own pace. This repeat follows the exact A2 through D2 sequence from row 2, so you can revisit the previous video for more on that. Once we reach the end of the row, we'll move on to the lower long edge. This long edge is identical to the long edge in row 1, so I will get you started with the first repeat for that as well, and then leave you to work that on your own. I've added chapter markers so you can pause and follow along whenever you need, so I'm spending less time on the repeats here because it's all techniques we've done before in the previous 2 videos. All I'm doing is establishing the flow for row 3. If you prefer everything to be written out and have diagrams, the full 31-page PDF is available in my shop. All right, grab your blanket and let's get started. So this is row 2, and this is where we finished down here. So the great thing about row 3 is all the techniques we're going to use, we've already done. Row 3 is going to look like row 1 because there will not be any half hexagons, but we'll be joining to the row above, which we did not do in row 1, so we learned those techniques in row 2. And the repeat that we're going to use is A2, B2, C2, D2, exactly like row 2. So I'm going to walk you through one full repeat with row 3, and then I'm going to let you go finish the whole row yourself because you've already done the techniques. And if you need me to go through it even slower, you can go back to row 2. So we're going to bring in row 3. We have our stack for row 3 here, and I'm going to take off the first hexagon. And then I'm going to place the stack back out of my way. So as I mentioned, there are no half hexagons on row 3. Makes it a lot simpler. We'll be starting here at A2. And we'll be joining the A2 section, then we'll go down the B2 section, and then we'll bring in our next hexagon. So let's start with A2. So I have my hook back in the loop at the end of long edge 2. I have my first hexagon of row 3 sitting in place, and I'm going to pick them up together and work up this first edge, trying to get everything from behind out of the way so we can focus on this edge. We begin row 3 by setting it up with a chain 1 and single crochet in the new hexagon to the left of that corner single crochet. So right into that chain space. And we work a single crochet. Now we're ready to start our repeat section that goes up this edge. Chain 1, single crochet in the first free chain space on the back, which is along the long edge 2. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the front hexagon in that chain space. That's the repeat. We're going to do that 6 times till we reach this corner. So we've worked the repeat 6 times. We started after the single crochet, so we should actually have 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to come over the top corner of this hexagon, continuing with A2. So for some reason I forgot to put my stitch markers in, so I just had to put them in there quickly. I guess when I did this last part, I forgot to put them in. So there they are. There's my 2 stitch markers that I was putting in on the long edges. We go across these by doing a chain 1, single crochet in the first chain space of stitch markers, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain space that's marked, chain 1, and come back to your hexagon and go into the next chain space. It's on the other side of that single crochet that represents the corner. And at this point, we continue down the next edge of our hexagon, chain 1, single crochet in the back, chain space, chain 1, single crochet in the front chain space. That's our repeat. We do that 6 times until we reach this corner. And we're still working on A2. And we end in the front. So again, we will have, from this corner, we'll have 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Next, we will chain 1 and single crochet. And remember, I marked these now. This is the bottom corner of the hexagon above it. It's a chain 2 space. We single crochet into that and we chain 1. And that's the end of A2. Now we're going to start B2. So we'll just take a quick look here at what we've just done. We started here at the edge and worked up across this join and back down. This is all A2. We're ready for B2, which will just go down the edge of this hexagon all by itself. So picking up my work, we start by working a single crochet in the next chain space going down this edge. And I want to mark this chain space with a stitch marker. So grabbing my stitch marker, I'll place it into the chain space I just made, because we're going to work again into that when we come up the other edge. Chain 1 and single crochet in the next chain space, and that's your repeat. Do that 6 times. That's taken us down to this next corner. Again, there should be 7 because 6 repeats plus we started with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's the end of B. Now we're going to do C, and I need another hexagon for that. So if you hadn't pulled one off already, go to your stack and get another one. Pulling off the top one of the stack. If you don't have a cat like me, you can probably leave the stack to the side without the ring, but it seems every time I do that, the cat shows up and over the edge they go. Doing C2, the next step is to chain 1. And then we're going to flip our work to the wrong side. So I'm starting to get a lot of blanket going on here. And this really does get easier on your lap. So we have a wrong side facing, and we take our new hexagon and put it right side facing us on top. And we're going to work up this edge for D2. So C2 was very short. It was basically chain 1, flip it, and put your new one on. That's easy. Now we're working D2, and you recognize all this because we used it in row 2. D2 starts with a single crochet in that chain space just to the left of the corner single crochet in the new hexagon. Chain 1, single crochet in the back. So you want to go look for that last single crochet and go to the chain space right beside it. Sometimes this is where I make mistakes quite often, is when I go to look for that, I miss this one and I go into this one. And then I end up with the wrong number up here and I can't figure it out. And it is hard to see it because when I've done that, I go back and I'm like, why is it not adding up? Because this one actually gets bunched and it disappears. So be very observant that you're going into the first chain space after that single crochet on the back. Chain 1, and you come back to the front and work a single crochet in the front. That's our repeat right there, just like all the other ones. We need to do that 6 times total. It'll bring us up to this corner. Let's flip this, take a look. This is D. You should have 7 single crochets because we did 6 repeats plus the first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're not finished D2 yet though. To finish D2 off, you want to chain 1, go to the back and look where we put the stitch marker, single crochet in that chain space, chain 1, single crochet in the next stitch marked spot, chain 1, and then come back to your new hexagon, the last one you joined, and you want to go into the next chain space, single crochet. That ends D2 and that ends 1 full repeat. So let's take a look at that. So we have our first hexagon joined and we've started joining our second one. Here's what we did. A2 all the way around. B2 started here, down to C2, jumping over to D2, and back up to A2. That's what you do the entire row. No special half hexagons or anything. You're going to repeat what we did right here 4 more times. And then on the last hexagon of this row, you'll be ending here after the 4th repeat. And then you'll do A2, which will join it to the one above it. And remember, it's going to be a half hexagon, so I'll show you when we get there. And then you're going to do B2. You're not going to do C2 because we're going to start our long edge back. I will meet you at the end of this row. If you need any more help with this A2 through D2, I went through it a lot slower in row 2. You can go back to row 2 and watch how I did it there. Because at row 2, we started A2 here. After we got down the first half hexagon and joined the B2, C2, D2, we started A2 here and we did all these hexagons exactly how we're doing these hexagons. So it's all repetitive. You start to see that it's really just the same stitch throughout the whole thing with a few little extra things like these half hexagons. So go ahead and finish your row. And as I said, if you need more help, go back to the video for row 2. That'll be linked below in the description. And I'll meet you at the end where we will start the long edge back. Here's an example right here after I just said, be careful of this. Right in here, I missed the first chain 1 and went into the second one. And I didn't realize till I got up here, I'd already worked into this corner, but hadn't done this stitch yet. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't work right. So when I go back, it's very hard to see. It took me a few minutes and I'm like, I missed that chain space. So that is how easy that happens. So if it doesn't end up right here, pay attention that you missed one, probably this one. Now, when we've reached the end of the row, this is the last hexagon, obviously, and we did A2, and then we did B2, exactly like it was in the repeat. We don't do C2, we get ready to do the long edge back. The long edge back is going to be long edge 1. So this long edge is exactly the same as this long edge right here. There's no difference, but I will get you started on this one. This was called long edge 2 because it had the half hexagons in it. This will be long edge 1 again. I will work you through the first repeat and let you move on from there. Let's get working on our long edge. So we're going to take our work and rotate it so we can work back across the long edge. We're going to work across this hexagon and across this join. This will be the repeat. So I insert my hook back into the stitch and we can get going. We finished down B2 to C2, but we didn't do C2. And we end this section with a chain 2 because we're going around this corner. Now we want to single crochet in this first chain space to the left of the single crochet corner. Now we're set to do our long edge repeat. This is where the repeat begins. Chain 1 and single crochet in the next chain space. And we want to do that 6 times and it'll take us up to this corner. When we reach this corner and we've done it 6 times, we should have 7 single crochets just like all the other times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 2. Single crochet in the next available chain space. Chain 1. And then we do our repeat down here again. Single crochet in the next chain space. And chain 1. 6 times till we get to here. Again, we should have 7 single crochets from this chain 2 corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to go across the join. Chain 1, single crochet in this space right here. This is where C was. We single crochet into there and we place a stitch marker right here. Chain 1, single crochet in the next available chain space on the new hexagon. Place a stitch marker in there. That's the chain space that we just created. Now you have 2 stitch markers on either side of that center single crochet. This is where our repeat starts again. So I'm going to take my hook out and just take a look at this. We started here. This was the repeat to here. Then we do it again, and we do it 4 times all the way across our long edge. When you reach your last hexagon, the 4th repeat will take you to here, and then you'll just do the first part of the repeat that takes you up and down. You'll end here at the end of the 6 stitch repeat, and you won't be doing the join like we did here. So I'm going to let you go ahead and I will meet you here. And here we are at the end of long edge 1. We ended with that 6 single crochet chain 1 repeat, just ending with that single crochet right before the corner, ready to start the next row. Those 2 rows are all you need. Now you can finish the rest of your blanket by simply repeating rows 2 and 3 until you've reached the length you love. I worked a total of 9 rows for mine, but you can make yours as long or as short as you like. Once all your rows are joined, I'll meet you back here for the final video in the series. We'll add a beautiful border to finish everything off. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to hear how your blankets are coming along. Let me know in the comments how many rows you've decided to do. Enjoy your crochet time, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.